He's here to play some tunes for us. Hi, Justine.
Hi, I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight. It was originally supposed to be me and Leslie, my little duet partner, but she was unable to make it. But hopefully we'll be able to get back, together. But I'm super excited to share some music with you guys tonight.
We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Isn't it Justice?
It is Justice.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But I've been called way worse.
That's
It's
it,
totally
Heather.
fine.
You were fired from the radio.
It is my first day, so.
It's okay. I've been called worse. It's totally fine.
I've made much bigger mistakes live here on the air and past that.
Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear.
So, Justice, would you mind playing us a song?
Absolutely. We've been listening to all these peaceful songs, and this one's a little bit rowdy, so I apologize. I'm going to switch up the vibe right away.
I'm here for rowdy.
Yes, let's get
That's
rowdy.
right. This is one of seems to be a crowd favorite. This one's one that I've written a long time ago. This one's called Like John Wayne. Well, I grew up watching movies on that black and white TV about horses, guns, and Indians and homemade whiskey. And I said to myself, that's how every real man should be, like John Wayne. Well, the young girl has a tendency to romanticize, to overstate the state of things that fall before their eyes. You're no shotgun slinging Superman. You'll never be that brave like John Wayne. Like John Wayne in a one-man rodeo. When the smoke clears, it's like the Alamo. You've got everybody thinking that you're tougher than the pain, like John Wayne, like John Wayne, yeah. Well, your heart's just like a canyon, drier than the desert sand, with a trail of tears behind you, wider than the Rio Grande. Well, you cast a great big shadow, but you never take a stand, like John Wayne. And I've been locked and loaded ever since you came to town. If you're dragging spurs to my house, boy, you better turn around, 'cause I just dropped this hammer and I'm about to put it down, like John Wayne, like John Wayne in a one-man rodeo. When the smoke clears, it's like the Alamo. You've got everybody thinking that you're tougher than the pain, like John Wayne, like John Wayne, yeah, like John Wayne.
Wow. That was
Sorry, I had a rough start there. This is it's not a sit-down guitar, really. But I found it eventually.
I apologize. I did not ask before the show whether you would prefer to stand or
It
sit.
doesn't matter. I didn't know either till I just got ready to start playing. So it's really fine. I know I got it now.
I thought you absolutely nailed it.
Well, thank you.
And this is Justice Ellis live here on Pass the Hat. You can learn more at Justice Ellis Music. That is at Justice Ellis Music on social media, and probably lots of other places. And Justice is in a couple of other bands that we may hear about during the show.
Sure.
Heather, will you engage our guest? I'm going to go adjust one of those microphones.
I would love to. Would you be so kind as to tell me a little bit more about your creative process? So when you have a song, how does it typically come out of you? Do you start with the lyrics? Do you start with strumming on your guitar? Do you wake up at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night and say, I got to get this out?
All of the above. It comes in different ways. And when I first started writing years ago, it was more geared toward commercial. Like that was my goal, was to pitch for commercial radio. So in that sense, I'd get the idea, or somebody would say something, or I'd hear something on TV or read something in a book, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I'd, jot it down and then kind of fit it into a template, right? Because that's what you do for commercial radio. You kind of, A, B, A, B, C, D, and then, jump 1 to 5 on the chorus, those kinds of things. But now that I'm writing again, it's a little different. Sometimes the first line of the song comes to me first, and then I feel like I'm working backwards because, you don't have that idea to base around. You got to figure, okay, well, where is this going now? So it's kind of cool, but different ways. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I just, have something, or sometimes I lay down and that's when it hits. You never know. It's a weird thing, the muse, when it comes.
So when it hits, what do you do?
If I don't have my guitar, I'll get my phone out and make a little voice memo, or I'll keep notebooks in the car. I even keep books that I've already have things written in the car, so I can, go back and forth and look at other things. I do my morning pages in the morning, like the artist way. So that's a big help, just to keep things flowing, But obviously, if I'm with my guitar, I'll start strumming or sing the line until I have the melody, and then, try to find something that goes along with that very, well.
So it's good. You have a wide range of things you can rely on, of ways the muse may hit you, and you'll bring it in any way it comes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's, ideally, I'd have the idea and it would be there forever, and, I'd develop it all day and come home and just record it, and then I have a new song, right? And sometimes it works out that way, but not always. There are times when, I just don't get to it fast enough, or I can't remember, just quite how I had it the first time, but it usually works out in the end.
And regular listeners will know that I've forgotten to do something, and I'm going to do it now, because we have 2 wonderful sponsors for Pass the Hat, one for the first hour and one for the second hour. Both of them we love, and both of them make delicious ingredients, delicious things for us. So this first hour of Pass the Hat is brought to you, and by the way, I have the second one for the second hour memorized because I say it every week. I've never had to say this one, so I'm just reading, so I apologize for my poor reading skills. The first hour of Pass the Hat is brought to you with the support from Accidental Baker Flatbread Crackers, handmade with quality ingredients and lots of care in Hillsborough, North Carolina since 2007. Available at many Triangle and Triad specialty food stores, including Weaver Street Market and Whole Foods in the cheese section. Or you can shop online at theaccidentalbakernc.com. That is theaccidentalbakernc.com. Okay, I was terrible on that, but Heather was awesome. Thank you, Accidental Baker. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Justice, will you play us a song?
Sure. Absolutely. So this one is a new song, so you guys will be there. It's a new old song. I had the first verse and the chorus for a little while. And I just finished it a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to pull my songwriter card. If you like it, it's finished. If you don't, I'm still working on it, okay? But this was kind of about a sweet memory. So I grew up Pentecostal home in this very, religious household. And my grandmother, whenever there was a storm, I don't know, that's kind of a Southern thing too, but I guess not everybody has it. But whenever there was a storm, she'd turn off the TV, she'd tell everybody, be quiet, be still, it's the Lord's work, right? You reverent because it's the Lord's work. And there were 4 of us, so I know now that she was, just wanted a few minutes of peace and quiet, but, and maybe she just wanted to listen to the rain without us, making all that fuss. But it's a sweet song. This one's called Just Be Still. Thunder roared and lightning flashing, storms raging all around. I Grandma dried my eyes and whispered, baby, it's okay. And she said, just be still, and someday you'll understand. It's just the Lord in all his glory, the work of his mighty hand. And when you can't see through the rain, and you don't know how to feel, all you have to do is be still. When dark clouds begin to gather and drive away the sun, shadows linger on my doorstep and the wicked wind moans, I'll turn off the TV and put down the phone and sit here in the quiet, just like my grandma done. And she said, just be still, and someday you'll understand. It's just the Lord in all his glory, the work of his mighty hand. And when you can't see through the rain, and you don't know how to feel, all you have to do is be still. And when you can't see through the rain, and you don't know how to feel, all you have to do is be still. Thank you.
Justice Ellis, live here on Pass the Hat. I love that. You just have to be still. And
Sometimes you do.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
that's just
you know, whether, you know, you take that in a religious context or not, it's just good self
self-care.
care. Yeah, to sit still and just be quiet and get your thoughts together and things. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good lesson for everybody when that storm is happening, and that storm might not be a literal storm. It could be whatever.
absolutely.
Just sit and be still for a little
Yes,
bit.
sir.
Well, we are here with Justice Ellis. I keep trying to say Justin because we had this discussion earlier about
I said
Justin Ellis.
Justine, so.
I know. We must be related, you know.
Probably. Where was I going with that? You have, you've probably heard this many times, a wonderful voice and a wonderful natural vibrato. Wondering if you have had vocal lessons throughout your life.
I grew up singing in church.
That counts.
You know, when I was 2 years old, I was holding a microphone bigger than me. So I've been doing that my whole life, mostly bluegrass, which, you know, does have a lot of bluegrass singers have a lot of vibrato in their voice as well. And quartet music, Southern gospel quartet music. So singing harmonies and things like that, and all the fun lilts and ups and downs and, you know, the, harmony parts and things. So that, and then I was really lucky. I grew up in Durham. I'm from Durham.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school there, obviously. But I didn't know that everybody didn't have this experience, but until I got older. But it's such a great place for the arts. Orange County, too, because, you know, I've spent a couple years in Orange County.
Piedmont and now the Triad area of North Carolina is amazing for musical talent.
Oh, it's crazy. I was in, just my regular chorus class, and we were going to chorale. I was learning how to sight read. You know, we were doing adjudications, all of these things. And so, I mean, that was just from my public school experience. So I never took voice lessons, but I had a lot of training that, I would consider formal training,
right.
And I'm very grateful for that now. I can see a lot of it reflected in my singing now that I'm older, So.
Yeah, I bumped into Jessica Hall, a Durham artist, professionally known as Cisa J.
Mm-hmm.
And she said something similar. She said, you might think you're the best musician, the best singer ever, but all you have to do is walk into any rural church in North Carolina and you will be humbled.
For sure. Absolutely.
The
more charismatic, the humbler you'll be, that's for sure. For sure. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. We've just got a crazy amount of talent. And we were talking before the show how Greensboro has really exploded onto the local music scene over the past 10 years or so. We used to laugh at Greensboro when I was a kid because there was no culture in Greensboro, but they may have surpassed us now in
I agree.
how
The scene
they
is popping,
cultivate their local music scene.
Yeah.
How lucky we are to be in such a diverse location with so many good, talented people.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. And Hillsborough and Orange County, has just a great community as well. And, we're so lucky to have Lana and Eric right across the street at Yonder. They've done such a great job of creating a safe space for the community. And I really feel like, you mentioned that, they're kind of billed as Hillsborough's living room, and it's the truth. And everybody feels at home there. Which I love, and it, even I said it gave me a safe place to embarrass myself before I got out and started doing this again, or I wouldn't be here now. But yeah, it really is kind of the heart of our local community. So, and to have that, just literally Durham, Hillsborough, Guilford, Orange County, or Greensboro, it's insane. Like you can't miss a good musician. It's crazy.
Well, and we've said it many times here on Pass the Hat is we are blessed to have this local music scene, in part because it's not the slightest bit competitive. It's super hyper collaborative. If any musician is walking down the street and bumps into another musician, they're immediately forming a band, finding ways that they can play together rather than compete with each other for gigs.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Everyone that I'm working with now, I met at Yonder. That is 100% true. And I know you can't really say that everywhere. I mean, we're in one of the biggest, most competitive markets in the country as far as, the Triangle area, and even, now up to Greensboro. And even Winston-Salem, I think, is picking up now a little bit, too. They've got some things going on up there. So the fact that, that we are so inclusive and so, have that camaraderie, because when you go further east, you don't see that quite as much. I mean, you have it, but you don't see it quite as much.
Right.
So, I'm really thankful for that as well, because some other folks might have booted me out on my behind before I got this far this time around, so.
Well, I'm glad they did not.
Me too.
I'm super glad we have this local music scene, and super glad to have you here in the studio.
Thank you.
So that I can ask you to play another song.
Sure. So this one goes with my big guitar and my cool hat that Jeannie hooked me up with down at Unique Boutiques, because, I had to have a cool hat to come down and see you guys. And this one is really cool. It's from a brand called Wild as Heck in California. It's women-owned. All the art is independently done, and then it's all hand applied to order. So,
nice.
So they're really cool. And Jeannie has the best stuff anyway. She's got everything.
She does.
But this one's a little country.
What?
I hope Lucchese's doesn't sue me. You guys know what Lucchese's are? They're really overpriced boots. And last Christmas, my daughter said, Mom, what are Lucchese boots? Because some of the girls that are, making music now mentioned Lucchese, guys wearing Lucchese boots in their songs. And I just, before I even thought about it, I said, never trust a man in Lucchese's.
That's a true story.
And that can have all kinds of social implications. You can take this song and put it wherever you want to on that front. But then I was just standing at the sink, and I kind of wrote this washing dishes. So this is my little Willie Nelson Whalen-esque Lucchese song. Never trust a man in Lucchese's. Well, he's got more money than he's got good sense. And he ain't afraid to blow it, and his feet are gonna show it. On luxury, he's sparing no expense. You'll know everything you need to know about him the minute that he walks into the door. You think by now somebody would have told him this ain't the CMA's, it's just the grocery store. So never trust a man in Lucchese's. Don't trust a man in Lucchese's, my friend. 'Cause he'll keep them nice and clean, all polished and pristine, so you can't ever tell where he's been. Honey, he's all hat and no cattle. The only thing he's roping is the wind. Never trust a man in Lucchese's. Don't trust a man in Lucchese's, my friend. Well, I admit he sure does look impressive with his shiny hair and fine Italian suit. But you'll find his mouth is slicker than the bottom of his $1,000 alligator boots. And I bet you he ain't no good in the saddle. That ain't leather, it's his fancy new cologne. He'll take all he can with his soft and calloused hands and leave you crying all alone. So never trust a man in Lucchese's. Don't trust a man in Lucchese's, my friend. 'Cause he'll keep them nice and clean, all polished and pristine, so you can't ever tell where he's been. Honey, he's all hat and no cattle. The only thing he's roping is the wind. Never trust a man in Lucchese's. Don't trust a man in Lucchese's, my friend.
I love that song.
Wow. So much good
It's fun.
advice
It's a lot of fun,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, find yourself a barefoot man. Barefoot man will take care
That's
of you.
right. Sure will.
I'm known throughout Hillsborough as Barefoot Bob.
Oh, nice.
Although I have shoes on today. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Oh, Barefoot Bob, yes. That was just some really good advice. I really, really enjoyed that song.
I think so,
Yeah.
I guess, being that I'm getting back into this game a little bit older, it's, I'm 43 now, so, I got started really young, put it down for a little while, but I guess, these young girls need some sage advice from us old ladies, so I give them some little wisdom there.
Yeah, share the knowledge for sure. Can I ask you how you first got started in music?
So I started singing in church. And then, of course, growing up around here, with the music scene, my mom dragged me around everywhere. She loved music too. And so aside from the church things, we would go to like Bass Mountain and the festivals. We had Festival in the Eno. And all these, great bands were so cool. I was 2 or 3 years old and they would let me get up and sing Rocky Top or, whatever with them. And so that's kind of how I got started, and then singing church as well. And then in school, we did a lot of show choir and things like that. When I was 14, that was the first time I went to Nashville. I had made my first demo at Nightingale Studios on 18th Avenue. I think it's still there.
Wow.
And that was fun, and it was a weird time. Leanne Rhymes was suing her dad, and they had Billy Gilman and Lila McCann, and I think I was supposed to be in that little circle, but then there was all this,
Drama.
stuff about, are they too young? And we probably were, so, it's whatever. So that didn't really pan out the way that I thought it was going to. But it was a cool experience. And then I kept at it for a little while. When I got a little bit older, I was, singing in the local scene. I've never been a great musician on my own, y'all hear this clunky guitar. I mean, I get by.
It works.
I get by. But I wasn't really out there a whole bunch, but I was, pitching things and, working on writing stuff. And then I actually got sick. I lost a kidney, which I'm fine, and I don't have kidney disease or anything like that.
Did you find it again?
Somebody's got it. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably incinerated
In a jar
by now.
somewhere.
Yeah, and the other one's fine. It was just a weird thing. They don't know if it ever worked or not, but they just took it because it was bad.
right.
But it put me down for a little while.
I reckon.
So it took me a while to recover from that. And then I was focused solely on my songwriting, in my 20s and early 30s, and I did pretty well with that. I was gaining some traction. And then I broke my shoulder.
But somewhere along this path, though, you must have picked up a guitar. When did that happen?
Oh, yeah. So I picked the guitar up on and off for since I was 14. I've always, had the desire to play. And I took, a few lessons here and there. And I'm mostly self-taught, though, only because I get so frustrated. I put it down and pick it up and put it down and pick it up. And then after I hurt my shoulder, it was definitely not happening,
Right.
So that's the last time I put it down. I put it down for a long time. I just didn't pick it up for about 15 years.
Wow.
Because, I felt like every time I started to make some headway, life just kind of lifed pretty hard.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought maybe this is, the universe or God's way of telling me that this maybe is not for me, and that's just kind of, that was just me getting discouraged, and I kind of got in my own head a little bit with that. But I did put it down for a long time, but it never goes away. If you're a music lover and you have it in you and you feel like that's, what you're born to do, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's always kind of in the background, So, my daughter is 23 now. She's grown, and she's, married and out of the house, and I had a lot of free time. Yeah, I kept her alive for 23 years. I'm so proud of myself. Hopefully for a whole lot longer. But I had a lot of downtime, and I just thought maybe I'll look at this again and revisit it. And I'm glad I did. It's been a lot of fun.
We are so glad that you did.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly, where I'm trying to go with it right now. I just, Leslie and
I like
both,
where you're going with it right now.
thank you so much. That makes me feel better because, I don't know sometimes. But Leslie and I both kind of said, our main thing is we just want to have a good time and make good music and, not put the pressure on ourselves. Whatever's meant for us is going to come to us. So we just, if we make good music and we have a good time, the rest of it will take care of itself. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But,
It's totally working. And when did you pick up this giant guitar?
oh my gosh, I got this guitar last year. I was going to a songwriting retreat, and I had another little guitar, but it was old. It's been beaten around for 10 years or more. So it was time to get something new. And I fell in love with this vintage Guild that I saw at Sound Pure, and I really, really wanted it. But it was the first time I'd ever flown with an instrument too, because I was going to, flying to this retreat. And I said, if I buy this $3,000 Guild and something happens to it on my first flight with the guitar, I'm going to be so sick.
Uh-huh.
And I'm glad I did, because I told you like the Palm Springs airport broke my guitar case, and messed the pickup up in this one, so I had to have that fixed. And get a new guitar case. So I guess my instincts were right, but this is a good little guitar, and it's got the sound, it's got the look, it's got the vibe, it's real warm. Action's great on it, so I kind of like it. It's I think it's part of my brand now at this point. This big giant guitar.
Well, it does. It looks great with you, and it sounds great with your voice. And
Thank you.
Sound Pure has provided the guitars for a whole load of musicians that have been here on Past
Oh,
That.
gosh.
In fact, Kirk Ridge, who is our co-host, who is not here tonight, I think he buys a guitar at Sound Pure about every 6 months. Now he's
Oh gosh, they have such a good selection all the time.
but
yeah.
now he's got this kind of rotation of guitars. As he'll bring a guitar in and trade it, and then buy another one and take it home and play with it for 6 months, and then bring another one in and trade it.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
It works
good
out well
system.
for him. I've accused him of buying the same guitar he traded in before, but he swears he hasn't done it.
I don't know how I know I wouldn't be able to keep up with it, to be honest, if I was doing it like that. But.
Well, we are pretty close to the top of the hour, so I can tell you once again, you're listening to WHUP LP Hillsboro, and we are just entering the second hour. And Justice, do you see that cardboard box just over there to your right?
I do.
Would you mind picking that up?
Sure.
Because this is the point in the show where I get to tell you that support for this second hour of Past the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthew's Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it, we all have chocolate needs. Every guest on Pass the Hat gets a gift of chocolate from Matthew. We don't know what's in the box, but we know that it's delicious. So enjoy that in good health. We hope that you like chocolate. And y'all, get over to Matthew's, because, boy, howdy, he is making all kinds of wonderful Halloween, scary, spooky treats that will just blow your mind.
This is 100% the only reason I agreed to do this, just so you guys know. Full disclosure, okay? We're putting it out there, free chocolate.
You would not be the first who came on here only for the chocolate. All right, we've got business out of the way. Justice, have you got another song you can play for us?
I do. So this is another new song. Where did I do this? Right here. So this one, my husband had to change the water pump in his truck, and I had to drive him to work one time from Prospect Hill to almost to Durham, and I was so inconvenienced that I wrote this song on the way back. I was so dramatic because it's nowhere near that serious, but I just started with, the broke down car and sitting in the driveway, and the hood was up, and I don't know where this came from because it was like 6 a.m, but it's okay. So this one's called In the Middle of Nowhere. Pitch dark in the middle of the night, smoking hood and one headlight, kicking tires and cursing at the moon. I keep turning it over and over, These wheels spin slower and slower, and we ain't going nowhere anytime soon. And all those dashboard warnings, you know I shouldn't ignore them. I just gotta find out what's waiting at the end of this road. And that old highway's calling, baby, I'm still stalling. If we ever get moving, no telling how far we'll go. But I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, with both hands on the wheel, wishing that I could just put it in drive and chase down something real. Take that bucket of rust, leave you in the dust, find out how forgetting you feels. And I'm still out here in the middle of nowhere. Scrap it, call it a loss, give the bones to the junkyard dogs. Hate to throw the whole damn thing away. We tried to fix it, but it ain't automatic. Too bad love don't come with schematics. Leave it on the side of the road, 'cause I can't stay. No need for dramatics, it's just radio static. We're too far out and nothing's coming in clear. Pump the brakes for a minute, 'cause your heart ain't in it. And I'm on a roll like a brand new set of good years. But I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, with both hands on the wheel, wishing that I could just put it in drive and chase down something real. Take that bucket of rust, leave you in the dust, find out how forgetting you feels. I'm still out here in the middle of nowhere, middle of nowhere. Thank you.
That poor truck.
I know.
I felt
Genera-
like I was right there on the side of the road with you.
Right?
Oh, we're good.
Were you in Prospect Hill because you lived there, or that's where the truck broke down?
So that's where I live now.
Okay.
So my daughter married a boy from Prospect Hill, and all his family is there. So he wasn't going anywhere.
Is there more than one boy from Prospect Hill?
There's a couple. They're all related. Most of them are Carvers. That's when my daughter married a Carver.
Was it Mr. Carver who made the little quartz village?
It's right up the road from there. Yeah, we're just a couple miles from Shangri-La. I don't know if they're any relation, but probably so. Probably so. Yeah, we're not far from Shangri-La at all.
That's I don't know, Heather. Do you know about that wonderful roadside attraction?
Yes, I am familiar. I've never actually stopped and explored, but I have read a couple articles about it and pass it several
It's so
times.
cool, and they keep it up really nice. It's we used to go. If we were on a road trip or something, we would always stop on the way. We did all the kitschy things, so we would stop on the way, and it was fun. And I forgot all about it till we moved back out there, really. And it was cool to revisit that and, share that memory with, my daughter as well. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I first visited that with my dad sometime in the mid-'70s, and then I took a girlfriend up there when I first started driving in the late 70s.
Oh, wow, I didn't know it had been around that long.
Yeah,
That's
it's been
wild.
around for a long time. And me and my girlfriend met the guy who built it. He was probably in his late 60s at the time.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's cool.
it had been his lifelong project, just building this wonderful village of quartz rocks.
It's fascinating. It's beautiful,
It is.
The fact that it's maintained and, held up for this long is just, people have been working really hard to preserve that. So
Yeah.
that's good that his life work is not,
Yeah, I don't know if
People
it's
taking
still
care of
in
it.
the same family or not,
Yeah.
but whoever still owns the property, they're doing right by it.
That's right. It looks real good.
So I heard a little bit about Asheville. Can you tell us a little bit more? Were you in Asheville? Did you live in Asheville?
No, Nashville.
Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. No, we do go to Asheville quite a bit. Asheville's great.
That's where Kim Lane is right now.
You said you went to Nashville when you were 14.
Yep. So,
You went to Nashville. You went to Nashville to play music when you were 14.
Yeah, so I think there were some people that were just kind of scouting, and I forget where we were. I sang somewhere, and my mom talked to them. She kind of set everything up, and it was cool to be that young, and you go to Nashville and they put you up in a hotel, and then they come pick you up in the morning and drive you to the studio, and we the studio that I recorded in was really cool. I think Aaron Tippin and Shania Twain and lots of cool people, lots of big names at the time had recorded there. So that was cool for me. And I think Lou Shelton was one of the guitarists on my demo, and they sent me home with a DAT tape. If that tells you how long ago that was, ancient, right? I don't even know if that thing is still playable. But he actually had sat in with Elvis before, so I got to say that I had one of Elvis's guitar players on my little demo, so that was a cool thing. But even then, like it wasn't my own music; it was songs that they had given me, and I don't know if it was that, if it just was, I was who knows? It might have been something, it might not have. Who knows? But after that, as I got older, I joined Nashville Songwriters Association, which, you probably hear a lot about here. It's such a great place to connect with the industry, especially if you're not in Nashville. So, I would go back and forth for things like that. And that's how, when I first got my songs pitched to the publishers, I made a lot of the connections through the spring training and, things that they had, seminars and things that they would have. They would have these little meetings, and then you can send songs in for evaluation, and if they choose you, they will pitch it for you. So they have a pitch to publisher night. So I had a couple for that too. So all of my real progress that I made when I was older was mostly from going back and forth to Nashville and connected to Nashville Songwriters Association. So.
Fantastic.
And were you writing your own songs at 14?
I wrote a little bit, but not seriously. So even now, I find it hard to take myself seriously as a songwriter, especially around here, because we have so many sophisticated and just beautiful, just eloquent, songwriters. And, here I am singing about overpriced boots, So sometimes, even then I didn't take myself seriously. And I wish I had have. I wish I could have been Taylor Swift. You never know.
Well, that's tough to do when you're 14. But I'm impressed that your mother supported this and said, yeah, let's go out to Nashville. Because
she was
she
great.
must have seen something in you that needed to be heard.
Oh, she's always been, completely supportive. And even now my family is, being really great about my little adventure that I'm on right now. They're supporting me all the way. So
if my kids, when they were 14, if one of them came to me and said, I want to go to Nashville and record some music, I would have said no. Go out and mow the grass.
Right. Right. Yeah, she my mother rides motorcycles, and her husband does too as well. But she's always had one, and she had a 74 Sportster.
Sweet.
When I was 14, and she sold the Sportster to get me to Nashville the first time. So
that's some sacrifice.
So
right
that
there.
was cool. Yeah, she made some big sacrifices for it.
Did
so
she lord that over you for the next 20 years?
No, but she could have. She should have.
I sold my Sportster for you.
I know, right? And then bless her heart, it just wasn't meant to be. So, but the fact that she made that sacrifice for me means a lot.
That's big time.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that a lot on Pass the Hat. That we have this myth of musicians just. Everything is against them. Nobody's helping them out, and they're just sticking it to the man, and they're going to go out there and make their music, and that's never how it happens. There's
no, not ever.
Always a community and always family members encouraging you, giving you guitars, buying you guitars, or whatever instrument you're playing,
Right.
and helping fund whatever education you needed. And it does take a village to
It really
help
does.
make a
And,
musician.
your supporters, too, your listeners, your fans, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know if I'm at a fan stage, but I do have a lot of people.
You are now.
Oh, well, thank you. I have a lot of people that, have encouraged me to kind of get back into it. And I have a really good village, around me that kind of pushed me off the ledge the first time and, and are supporting me now. But, it's funny that you said that. I was thinking the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine is photographer, and he actually just published his first book.
Oh, great.
And it's actually the exhibition is at Peel Nail until November 20th. It's called Fractured, and my mom is in it with a revolver, and some possums.
Appropriate.
Can I meet your
Google
mom?
that. Yeah,
She sounds so cool.
That is a whole nother show. I know you have more than 2 hours for that one, but
Yeah, we need your mom here in the studio.
and the
but,
possums.
yeah, absolutely. They've been rehomed. She found them. She has land in Cedar Grove, and she found them. The mother was dead. Anyways, she was when Christian found out there were possums, he went straight there. But anyway, but he and my friend Ronnie, Ronnie was and her husband, they were in the local music scene, back in when the Poorhouse in Raleigh was, still going, and Drive-By Truckers were still playing there before anybody knew who they were. With Ryan Adams, Caitlin Carey, all of that Rounder Records.
Back in the day.
Yeah,
yes.
it was cool then too. But they've all kind of encouraged me to just, take the leap. And I'm so glad they did. And I'm so glad I have that support. But as far as things happening, I felt like a lot of times before when I was younger, and, the timing just wasn't right, and maybe I just wasn't in the right place. I wasn't ready in different ways, not necessarily vocally or, my writing, but there's just, it just wasn't the right time. And I've found this time around that just showing up, with an open heart and the right spirit, things kind of just take care of themselves, Mm-hmm. Every opportunity that I've been given since I picked this back up has just kind of fell into my lap, so to speak. And I don't want to say that I'm not putting the work in or that I'm working, less.
That's the work paying off.
Right. But it's just when the time is right, things just happen for you. And I love that. I love the support of people making things happen around me. It's just wonderful. The fact that that it means enough to them to want to do that for me is incredible.
Well, let's give a little something back to that village and play him another song.
All right, let's see. What did I have next here? So this one, Leslie and her sister helped me co-write. I started this one about 10 years ago in Nashville. Let me get this capo right, sorry. Walking down Broadway in Nashville, actually. Well, that's still not right. Hold on one second. Okay. And I had the first verse and the first part of the chorus. And it just sat in a notebook for 10 years, and we were looking at some things. And Leslie and I were working at her house, and her sister started yelling lyrics from the living room. And she's like, I can't believe you're not doing this, and I can't. And we're like, what else you got, Nicola? Come on. This one was co-written by Leslie and Nicola and myself. And this one's a fun one. It's called, it really doesn't have a name. We call it the Brown Bottle Song. Another day older and another day wasted well. Oh, what the hell, I might as well be too. Another night wishing I had something else better to do than finish this beer and think about you. Well, the bar's pretty empty and it's getting close to closing time. And there ain't enough whiskey in the world to get you off my mind. So I'm peeling off the label on this old brown bottle. Maybe by the time I get to the bottom, I won't be thinking about you anymore. Well, you think that by I'd have learned my lesson, but it's 2 a.m. And baby, I'm guessing I'll still be sitting right here when the lights come on. There ain't nothing like a nice cold beer in the palm of your hand, except for maybe the warm embrace of a man. Well, I've been behaving, but tonight I just wanna be bad. I'm just hoping these good old boys might understand. So I'm peeling off the label on this old brown bottle. Maybe by the time I get to the bottom, I about you anymore. Well, you think that by now I'd have learned my lesson, but it's 2 a.m. Baby, I'm guessing I'll still be sitting right here when the lights come on. So I'm peeling off the label on this old brown bottle. Maybe by the time I get to the bottom, I won't be thinking about you anymore. Well, you think that by now I'd have learned my lesson, but it's 2 a.m. Baby, I'm guessing I'll still be sitting right here when the lights come on. Yeah, come and get me, I'll be sitting right here when the lights come on.
You're about to make me cry up in
Oh,
here.
goodness.
That was a good one. Did you write that about me?
Oh, you know, it's relatable, right?
I mean, I
Super
feel like
relatable.
you read me to filth there. Thank you for that. So where could I see you? Do you have some performances coming up in the near future?
So I'm still, as far as solo performances, I'm still working on this unless I can recruit a guitar player. So I don't do a whole lot right now. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'm going to work on it a couple more months because it's, we're in the fall. It's not, by January next year, I hope to be doing like solo stuff.
Right.
But I do, I'm in the band Bucky and the Buck Drivers. And so I started
Which
that.
is, I got to say, a fantastic band.
Thank you.
I
They're
agree.
so good. Gosh, our fiddle player, I don't know if you guys have heard, Jody Miller is insane. And it's funny, Leslie, who I met at Yonder at Open Mic, is English. She's from Yorkshire. And then Ian, I answered a Craigslist ad. As soon as I said, I'm going to just look and see what happened. The first time I went on Craigslist since I decided to do this again, it was this guy, putting together a Buck Owens band. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm getting on that.
I'm in on that.
Yeah, I want in on that. So, and he's been so patient with me and my mess, but I'm becoming, I'm getting better because of, my guitar playing. I had the nerves of a scalded cat too when I first started. So, they've been so good. But Ian is an incredible musician, and him and Jody played. They have a gypsy jazz band, Les Trois Chats.
The Trois Shot.
yes.
Yes.
So they had that first, and so yeah, they're just incredible musicians anyway. And the music's fun, the show is fun. Jason, Dr. Lunchbox from over at
From across
Yonder,
the street?
yeah.
That's the open mic at Yonder every Tuesday
Yes.
night.
So he's our bass player. We've got James Myers, who's also in the Algorithm Trio, or James Goldberg. Excuse me, James Goldberg. I'm trying to remember the Bull City Trio.
Yes.
So we got a lot of heavy hitters in there.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, so
And
we
I'm
got
just-
multiple ways we can catch Justice singing. And you sang both in Bucky and the Buck Drivers and the Ginger Biscuits
Yes.
whenever we can find a place to see and hear the Ginger Biscuits.
Yes, and so the Buck Drivers will be back at Yonder November the 1st. You guys can come see us there.
Nice.
Y'all, November the 1st, that's Saturday night, 2 Saturdays from now, I think.
That
Indeed.
one's
You
coming
want to
up.
be there. They'll blow your socks off, y'all.
Well, thank you.
Unless you're me and you're in there barefoot.
Barefoot Bob.
I wish I could be in there barefoot. I love to be barefoot.
You could. Lots of people walk. Well, at least 2 people I know go in there barefoot.
You guys are
believe that.
brave, very brave.
Well, we have rambled enough, and we have time for a couple, maybe 3 more songs.
Okay.
If you have a couple, 3 more you would like to play for us.
I do. This song, this one's another little tearjerker.
Great. No,
I know.
hit us with it.
I don't know if you guys figured it out yet, but I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and she inspired a lot of things. And this particular song, when my great grandmother passed away, everybody brought orchids, and I make this joke, and I don't know if people don't know how to take it, but I have the most awful sense of humor, so just pardon me if it's not funny to you. But all these orchids kept coming, and I was like, gosh, those are going to be the next to go because I'm never going to keep all these flowers alive, you know? Like, and I was grieving, and we had all this stuff and all these things. And I was like, now I got these flowers.
You got to try and keep orchids alive, which is a chore in itself.
It is, and I don't have a green thumb. If you have a green thumb, it's difficult, and they're beautiful. And I was so thankful for them. They were, and they inspired this song. So I'm absolutely more thankful for them now because I think this is one of my better ones. This song is called "Orchids on the Table," and I just kind of looked at the flowers and kind of thought about what they represent and how pretty they were, and the song kind of came to me right after that. So this is "Orchids on the Table." Orchids on the table, cards I haven't read, enough food to feed the choir, getting cold instead, and that phone just keeps on ringing, but I haven't picked it up. There'll be time for all that later, right now it's just too much, and I just keep staring at your empty chair, hoping this is all some bad dream. I'll wake up and you'll be there. Lilies were your favorite. They remind you of that song and how they never toil or spin. God considers everyone. I never really liked them. No one brought one anyway. But I'd go out and buy a million if it would bring you home to stay. Instead of these orchids on the table. Until today, I never really knew how much those simple flowers reminded me of you. Deep-rooted, stubborn, tall and proud, temperamental when they bloom, full of life and color, bold like their sweet perfume. And I know you just tell me not to cry and carry on like this if you were able. So I'll cherish every memory and these orchids on the table. Orchids on the table. Ooh, ooh.
That was beautiful.
What a beautiful tribute.
By the way, if you have orchids and you're having a hard time taking care of them, we mentioned Matthew's Chocolates as our second hour sponsor. Matthew is also the orchid whisperer.
Oh, wow.
He will take care of your orchids for you.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'll have to remember that for sure.
Because, yeah, they're super challenging.
Yeah.
Oh, I should probably also remind you, and I probably should have done this 45 minutes or so ago, if you are listening on WHUP FM 104.7 or WHUPFM.org, we're also live streaming this. We always do. We live stream at We'll Pass the Hat, at WHUP Pass the Hat on your favorite streaming services, and your favorite streaming services are Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Facebook and Twitch keep those streams for 2 weeks. YouTube keeps them forever. So we've got not just this live stream happening now, but recorded live streams on YouTube going back a decade. So we've got a huge archive of wonderful regional, local, and touring musicians who have come through Pass the Hat, and you can watch and listen in high def. With that said, can you play us another song? We're getting a little short on time. We might have one more or two if you play short, fast ones.
Okay. Well, I've got this one, and Jason Myers, Dr. Lunchbox, helped me finish this one up. So the little story with this one is I was in this songwriting group. I'm not in there anymore. I removed myself from it on social media, of course. And there's a lady there who is kind of a bully.
That does happen.
And she's not from around here, though, so, but she's kind of a bully. And she writes these little limericky songs, and they're meant to be mean and supposed to be funny, but the only funny thing about them is really the audacity with which she presents them to the world, because they're not great either. They're not well written, and they're mean.
Yikes.
And, I don't, talk about people's art, but I can say that because she's using hers for evil. So, but there was a couple good things in there, and I thought, gosh, she's spent as much time developing her ideas as she did trying to make somebody feel bad. She could write a good song. Like, there's some good stuff in there. So I started spoofing her little spoof, and I had the first verse, and it was really just kind of being silly on the couch. And then this came out, and so I sent it to Jason because I had most of it except the chorus. It has more verses than the Rattling Bog, but I just couldn't wrap up the chorus. I didn't know where I was going with it, And so Jason came back immediately with the last line of the chorus, and then it kind of tied it all together. So this was our first official co-write. It's a little bawdy, but...
Oh, no.
She drinks tequila down in Rose's cantina while the golden sun sets in the sky, throwing them back like she's under attack, and this just might be her last ride. Roadside boleros and old good time fellows who don't know just what she's been through. But one thing's for certain, when she pulls the curtain, she can sure put a hurtin' on you. And the jukebox was playing 7 Spanish angels as she watched Sunday morning come down. One more day behind her, tomorrow you'll find her out with the same rowdy crowd. Now those that don't know her think because she talks slower that she ain't that quick on the draw. But brother, she'll go toe to toe any day with any outlaw. You'll think she's a keeper, but her words cut deeper, deep as the devil's own well. She'll make every sinner feel like a winner, then tell them to go straight to hell. And the jukebox was playing 7 Spanish angels as she watched Sunday morning come down. One more day behind her, tomorrow you'll find her out with the same rowdy crowd. Heartaches were horses and dollars bad choices, she'd probably just ride away. 'Cause all she's had here are too many beers and not enough reasons to stay. It takes a strong one when you're loving the wrong one. I guess that's the price that you pay. But she'd rather sing sad songs and chase dawn all night long than face the stark light of day. And the jukebox was playing 7 Spanish angels as she watched Sunday morning come down. One more day behind her, tomorrow you'll find her out with the same rowdy crowd, watching Sunday morning coming down.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
And
One
I love
day
that.
I'll learn to play this guitar, y'all, and then I'll really be doing something. Y'all better watch out, okay?
I love that nod to Chris Christopherson, who was on your playlist.
Absolutely. That's what when I first started writing it, I told Jason, I said, because we had just lost Chris Christopherson in the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then this kind of occurred around mid to late February, kind of when I had the idea. And I was like, I would love for this to sound like Marty Robbins and Chris Christopherson wrote a song together if I could pull it off.
Well, you're getting close, and all of your songs tonight have been fantastic.
Thank you so much.
But we have reached the end of the live stream, so we have to say goodbye to our listeners. And we will transition to the second segment of the show, which is the last 30 minutes, playing a playlist that you provided to us. So I have to click a few buttons here.
And that was the hardest thing I ever had to do, was narrow that playlist down to 30 minutes. I just want y'all to know.
Yeah, about half of our guests have said the same thing, that they have stressed so much more about building the playlist than they have about coming and hanging out
I
with us.
believe that. Absolutely.
I bet you knocked it out of the park.
I tried.
Yeah,
You should have seen what I
She
cut,
did.
but what I got is pretty good.
Well, we're going. Do you want to give us a quick intro to the first song? Do you remember what the first song is?
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite Chris Christopherson songs, From the Bottle to the Bottom.
We're going to play that in just a second, but right now, if you will wave goodbye to the live stream.
Bye, guys. If you hung in there with me, thank you for staying.
Okay, we are done.